This episode is brought to you by Whitaker Garage Doors, your one-stop shop for all things garage doors, proudly based in Peekskill, New York. Your home is a direct reflection of your personal style, and let's face it, your garage doors are the first thing people see when they pull up your driveway. Whether you're looking for the timeless charm of a classic carriage house door or the clean, sleek look of a basic wood finish, Whitaker Garage Doors offers traditional options for every taste and budget. I can personally vouch for their incredible service. When I had my own garage doors done, I was blown away by their timeliness, professionalism, and overall respect for their clients. Jonathan, Cassara, and their entire team are top-notch, and they really go the extra mile to ensure you're happy with the final result. So if you're in the market for a new garage door or need some repairs, give them a call or find them on Instagram at Whitaker_doors. Don't forget to tell them you're a friend of Dave's over at the No Snooze podcast. Whitaker Doors. You won't regret it. Now, back to the epi. Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? I welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 276. As always, I'm in the booth. We have a very fly three today. Claudio the Voice, Valenzuela, Seth, the suit scientist, Stahlmann.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And I am Dave, the Body, Regina. Seth Stalhmann is the regional director of TWEEDS Custom Suits in Rye, New York, where he helps entrepreneurs, executives, and high-performing professionals elevate their confidence through custom, bespoke clothing. Raised in a family of 7, Seth learned the value of hard work, responsibility, and service at an early age, principles that continue to guide both his life and business today. Through TWEEDS, he has built a reputation for delivering world-class craftsmanship, personalized style, and an experience that helps people not only look their best, but show up as the best version of themselves. In today's conversation, we'll discuss entrepreneurship, confidence, personal branding, and why investing in yourself can open doors both personally and professionally. So without further ado, Seth, welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Thank you so much, Steve. That's a hell of an intro, man. That was awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. What was the best part of the intro for you? What did you like? Let me put you on the spot here. Are you blowing smoke, CV? Is he blowing smoke, or did you actually like it? Let's see.
I mean, I think it's always fun to get a good reference to my upbringing.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a million siblings, so it's a very big part of like who I am today and how I got here. So, I know I put it like on everything, but it is huge to me, and it does mean a lot.
I love that, man. So you are probably not the first person to sit in a suit in this chair. However, the very first one to come with measuring tape around the neck, which I think is a staple for you.
Yes, 100%.
Right? And I love it. I think it speaks to obviously the business, but is that something that you do by habit, or you do it intentionally to like let people know what you do?
So at first it was very intentional. Like when I was going out networking, which I do all the time, like it's always a good conversation starter to have it on. It also, it shows, like, I think when I walk into a room, people notice the suit, then they notice the tape, and it's like, oh, okay, I got to ask this guy, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Now it's second nature. I say that I sleep in a tape in case I dream of a good lead. But yeah, it's like I'm always wearing it.
I like that, man. You're a great guy, and I just want to say thank you for the support, man. Just with 30 Lessons to Lead, and you really promoting that and reading it and taking in the material and also sharing it, the way that you did. I truly want to say thank you, and I think it's a big reason why we're actually connected today. Right?
Yeah. Well, it was a really great book. I know I put a lot of this in the review, but I read the majority of it doing all my leadership stuff, so my book is like completely destroyed. Thanks for the nicer copy that's fresh, but Yeah, I mean, I loved what you did with it. I love that like every like chapter, every lesson has like practical ways to apply it. I think one of the things that's really missing in that book space, you know, particularly with business, entrepreneurship, and self-help, is it's very easy for people to put out something that is impersonal and very like heady, doesn't really have like a practical grounding, and just tread the same ground that everyone else who's come before them has tread. Like I read a lot of these, and I went back and read some of the older ones, and it's a lot of the same stuff, you know, with a 1940s reskin over it.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated, like, if I can pick up a book and find something new in there, that to me is huge. So
No, thank you, man. I'm really grateful for your support. So I originally met you, I believe, at was it a Worship and Network event? Or
no,
was it
we met
the
at the Drip Bar. Yeah.
Oh, was it the Drip Bar? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was at the Drip Bar. Rye was at a book signing.
That's right. That's right.
So it was there, and then we connected, and then I had the wonderful opportunity to come visit you at TWEEDS in Rye, New York. And what an experience, my brother. I mean, really, like before we jump into, you know, your story and your upbringing and stuff, I just want to tell everybody, you have to check out TWEEDS in Rye. Seth does an incredible job at making you feel right at home, even when you don't really know much. And I'm kind of a novice when it comes to suits, fully transparent. I would buy like Calvin Klein suits, as I told you, and then go to a tailor to get them kind of fit to my body.
Sure.
Whereas this experience and the whole bespoke clothing is really about custom from head to toe. And the way that you measured me, I mean, I felt a little vulnerable during some portions of that. Yeah. But you do a tremendous job, man. The coffee was great. The whole presentation was fire. So I really just encourage anybody in the game, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a professional in any aspect of life, you need to go check out TWEEDS, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's all fun and games until I tell you to turn your head and cough, right?
Yeah, that did not happen.
No,
all right, that
no,
did not happen.
But it is a vulnerable process. You're 100%
Yeah.
right, and I try to be sensitive to that because I started out as a customer, and this is a good segue. But I got into the business because I got my wedding suit custom made, and that was like my first experience with just like you said. Like I had the same experience. It was like, you know, I don't know if I even had an off the rack suit before then. I got married young, so it totally opened up like a new world for me. And for that to be my first experience with a suit, like I was thrown right into the deep end, like right from the get, and I knew I could never go back down. So,
hey, you know, it's funny. I was going to ask you how you got into the clothing game and then custom suit game. So it was it was a wedding experience that you were having, and you got married real young at like the age of 18.
Yes, I did.
Right?
Yeah.
That's super dope, by the way. Is this your high school sweetheart?
So technically, she's my middle school sweetheart.
Wow.
We met when I was 13, and I like to say we liked each other so much we just never broke up. And still going strong today.
That's amazing.
Got a beautiful 4-year-old daughter. So
beautiful, man. God bless you guys. Yeah, you're a young dude, man, but you carry yourself very well, very mature, very professional, and very knowledgeable when it comes to the suit game for sure.
Yeah.
I want to tap into your upbringing a little bit. Talk to me about a household with 7 kids, man. Because listen, I could barely handle one myself, so I'm curious as to. I'm sure it was the best time in the world for you guys, but also there had to be some challenges in that household growing up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, my biggest blessing in life is that, you know, my parents stayed together as long as I lived, even today they're still together. And, you know, all my siblings are from just my 2 parents. But you know, they were similarly, you know, they started having kids pretty young. You know, my dad like just turned like 52. So, wow. Yeah, I have young parents. And there's a lot of challenges that come with that, you know.
Where do you sit in the order?
I am the third. Okay. So third son of Adam is Seth. I'm Seth. So, but yeah, it was.
Is your dad Adam?
My dad is not Adam. Oh. Spiritually, maybe.
Okay.
No, my dad's Matthew. But he, you know, they made a lot of really tough choices to give us the best shot at life. And one of those choices was I always had a stay-at-home mom. So my mom homeschooled every one of us. She like never had like a job. We were her job, you know, and we're full-time plus. So that was just amazing. Like we had a very, you know, it came with a lot of difficulties. You know, I say that we were a big family with little money. My dad was just getting a start. Like he didn't have like a silver spoon of any kind to start out. So, you know, I remember when I was a kid, my dad would work like during the day. He had a bunch of jobs growing up, but you know, it was usually some kind of physical labor, and often it was odd jobs, you know, roofing, whatever work he could get for the day. And then he would, you know, shower up and go to his night job. And that was the majority of my childhood. Was if I wanted to hang out with dad, I was getting on a roof, you know. we were gonna rip shingles, and or we would be cleaning an apartment complex, like whatever it was for the day. And I think that was like, to me, it didn't feel like work. You know, I was just hanging out with my dad, but somehow in between his daytime job and his nighttime job, like before the big tech bubble, right? He taught himself how to code, and now he has a full-time job as a computer programmer, and you know, his life looks very, very different. But that, like, on one hand, I'm jealous of my youngest siblings who, like, you know, have this different security, but I don't think I would ever trade the lessons that I learned from growing up that way for more comfort.
I love that, man. That's a beautiful story, and what a beautiful upbringing. It looks certainly different from a lot of families, but were there strong biblical values in the home?
Oh yeah. I mean, my you know, my mom didn't pull us out of school because of that. She actually pulled us out of school because my oldest brother is autistic, and the school system was just never built for someone like him, right? And so she saw him falling through the cracks, and she didn't want that to happen to him. She didn't want that to happen to any one of us. So we ended up all getting homeschooled. But alongside that, you know, we were instilled with very strong biblical values. And I was raised, you know, very, very Christian, like in the best ways, I think. You know, my parents are very devout to this day, and a very good source of wisdom. You know, I can always call my mom or dad and get prayer and some insight. But yeah, I mean, it was that was always like the backbone for sure.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. I think that's needed now more than ever. You know, so I think that structure that was given to you early was actually one of the biggest blessings. I had my first job in CV2 between the ages of 10 and 12 years old, which is not pretty typical. So when you talk to people who experience that, you feel a sense of connection, and I have a deeper level of respect just off of hearing that alone, and even for your parents to kind of force you into that. Now, were you contributing to the household at an early age, or just like kind of paying like your way as you kind of grew up? Was that money for you, or both?
It was a mix of both. Yeah, I mean, I started working because I knew, like, from a young age that I wanted to do big things, and I really, at the time when I was 12, I really wanted to make movies. That was like my jam. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to animate cartoons. Like, I wanted to emulate the things that inspired me. And I got initially an internship with like a design studio, and that was my first job. But I learned very quickly that once you start making money, you can never not make money again, you know? And a big part of that was like, you know, I started to become acutely aware of our, you know, financial struggles. Like when I was really little, like, I think there's something very powerful about like familial connection and how it can shield you from the struggles that your family's going through. Like, I never felt poor when I was a kid, even though like sometimes the lights would just go off, and it was like, when are they going to come back on? When we can pay the bill, you know? But I never felt poor. But once I started making money, you know, then I started to really understand money a little bit more and see, you know, our situation from more my parents' point of view. And so I was contributing. My parents were never like all right, you're working now, you got to pay rent to live here. Like even to this day, like they are very big on making sure that all of us feel like we have a place to come back to if we ever need. But, when I'm starting to make money and the lights go out and I can fix it, of course, I'm going to step in and I'm going to help and contribute. So the design studio is cool. I learned a lot of the fundamentals of design there. But, working in the startup space, which, I had to because I was so young, startups go up and down. Yeah. So when a startup went down and I didn't have work for a summer, I was getting whatever job I could, just like my dad, whether it was I did 2 summers of landscaping, roofing gigs, restaurant work, whatever I could.
Now, it must be nice to wear this custom suit that you got and go to work every day.
Absolutely. It sure as hell beats a Chick-fil-A uniform.
Yeah. No, listen, man, but power to you, power to the family. Much love and God bless, just on a great parenting journey, man. And as a parent myself, I listen to stories like this and it means a lot. You know what I mean? And to really make the sacrifice that your parents must have made for you plus 6.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. All right, let's start to shift into a little bit about leadership and workflow, right? We talk a lot about like entrepreneurship, obviously, on the show. But I think there's also tremendous value in being an intrapreneur, right? And I identify intrapreneurship as somebody who sits at the top of an already existing location, organization, as yourself, right?
Yeah.
Or me as well as a deputy commissioner. I sit within the town of Greenburgh, and there's certain processes, procedures, all that. I'm sure it's the same with TWEEDS. You guys are not a franchise, right? But you have multiple locations. So this has been an organization that has now been built, and now you run the New York division as the regional director for TWEEDS in Rye. Talk to me about the value of being inside an existing organization.
Yeah. I mean, I got in at a really unique time. We were very, very small when I joined on. Like,
how small are we talking?
So the company started, when we started, there was no brick and mortar. It was a mobile suit shop. So the whole thing was like, it was like a suit shop on wheels. The owner had a box truck, and he decorated the inside like a suit shop, and he would roll up to people's houses or like a meeting location, and you would go in the back of the truck, get measured, and do everything there. And that's when I got my suit. I got my suit in the truck. So I'm one of the OG clients of TWEEDS. And when I actually hopped on board, which there's a whole story to that, but they had just opened the first brick and mortar, which is in Sarasota, and they were getting ready to open a second location in Tampa. And I knew that they had a very small team, so I reached out to the owner and said, hey, I want in. I see what you guys are doing. Do you need another guy? So at the time, I was the 5th person brought on board, including the owner, I believe. And we grew from 2 stores to where we are now, which is, this Rye marks the 16th store.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting time to come in. I got to see a lot of the growth from like the ground floor, and really I saw the company from its very beginnings. So I think a lot of the value of being, hopping on board is the groundwork that's laid makes the track, I guess, a lot less like scattered. Like we all know where we want to go. We're a really lean and motivated team, and there's an existing like vision that we all could hop on board with.
This is a great conversation, and I think it applies to young professionals specifically, right? But touch a little bit more on that, on how important it is to find an organization with such a strong culture versus just going to chase a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of us, we love money, but it's even better to have an organization that has good core values, a good vision, like you were saying. So I want to hear more about that piece.
Yeah, well, let me contrast this a little bit, because like I said, I grew up in the startup space, so I have seen the birth and death of a lot of small businesses. And just like you're saying, like I've seen a lot of these businesses pop up where it's very clearly about making the quickest and biggest paycheck you can and then running away as fast as possible, right? Or like, for instance, I worked with a lot of e-commerce companies, right? And the whole philosophy of those like fly-by-night e-commerce companies was, we're going to try and find one thing that's going to pop off big, we'll pull in a big payday, and then that should be enough to cover us as we flounder to find the next thing, right? And that is just a horrible culture. I mean, you're essentially like, it's like the vultures of business. Like that's how I felt, right? So having that really lackluster culture, it doesn't inspire you when you go home at the end of the day, right? And so hopping on board with TWEEDS and seeing, there's a group of really great guys. We're all going to have each other's back and we're all pushing for the same thing is huge. And I think that is what has grown us rather than, these other businesses I worked for where I was trying to find that pop and then, just scattering around until you can find the next one.
Yep. For the past 5 years, I've trusted Kai Vision Studio with my podcast. And every time, Claudio delivers an exceptional experience. The setup here is flawless. Professional lighting, crystal clear audio, and a custom set that makes every episode look elite. As someone who speaks on leadership, I know how important it is to show up with clarity and confidence. This studio allows me to do just that. The quality here isn't just about the equipment, it's about the environment. Claudio has created a space where I can focus on my message, knowing the production will be sharp, engaging, and professional. In a world flooded with content, standing out matters. And having a studio like this gives me the edge to produce videos and podcasts that truly connect with my audience. If you're serious about creating high-quality content, I can't recommend Kai Visions enough. Claudio makes you feel at home, yet delivers at the highest level. 5 years in, I'm not going anywhere else. The custom suit game is very dope, man, and I can see how it gets almost addictive just off of that first experience that I had. But you must see a lot of different levels of human beings, right? I'm sure the most successful people that you can think of, down to the entrepreneur that's just trying to, grind his or her way, I guess. Do you do female suits?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, all right. That's something I didn't know. What would you say is a common, quality of the people who are coming into TWEEDS?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are the characteristic traits about these individuals?
Yeah, I mean, everyone who comes to TWEEDS has some idea about how they want to present themselves, right? And they have a standard that they're holding themselves to, right? And they want to match that standard, whether it's for their personal standard they're holding for themselves or the respect that they want to show to the people they're going to interact with, right? And so, and you're 100% right. Like I see people from all over the economic spectrum, the human experience spectrum, but that seems to be the common thread. Because whether it's the guy who saved up for years to get his suit for his wedding, right, or it's the entrepreneur who won't bat an eye at the cost of the suit and just wants to look and feel his best. Both of those people have a sense of responsibility to how they want to present themselves. So I'd say that's the common thread.
I love that. When it comes to events and stuff, right, I always used to ask, well, what's the dress code? How should I dress? Right? And I think the answer to that is you should dress the way that you want to be addressed. Right?
Yes.
And that goes for anything in life, right? Like if you're going to a professional networking event, I'm not saying you have to be suited and booted all the time.
Right.
But if you're trying to connect with higher level individuals who are all wearing suits, then it probably would behoove you to get in the game a little bit, right? But I think that was the best advice that I can give to anybody in terms of like dressing and going to events. Whether it's a suit or not, you dress the way that you want to be addressed by people.
Yeah, 100%. You know, one of my my last jobs before Tweeds was a corporate job. I landed a corporate gig, and I was working for the Realtor Association. And one of the things that I noticed pretty quickly was, you know, where I was in Sarasota, it's a relatively small pond. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, you know, Manhattan, right? But in that small pond, we had 10,000 realtors registered with us, right? That's a lot. Like, that's a really interesting microcosm of business. And I noticed that a lot of the guys come in and they, you know, they feel like, whether it's because they moved from somewhere else or whatever, they have this like Florida persona. Like, they can wear Hawaiian shirts and shorts all the time and flip-flops. And, you know, that's how they want to dress. More power to them. The top guys, the 1%ers in the space, all wore suits. Or on the ladies' side, they all dressed impeccably. Like, one of the top performing realtors who I had the pleasure of meeting, she got into the game like much later in life and absolutely skyrocketed to the top. And it's just a symptom of her mindset, but she always dressed amazingly because she knew she was going to meet with people who she was going to ask to entrust their property to her to go and sell. Or she was going to ask people, hey, this is your dream home. It's multiple millions of dollars. You can trust me, right? And so I think a big part of it was the respect that she wanted to offer to them, that she dressed so well.
You know, I can relate to that. And I don't know if everybody is aware of this, but people who have read my book certainly are. One of my first job opportunities, my first big break into becoming a commissioner, was because of exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You know, like, I was 24 years old and I had a recreation-based job, and I just knew that I wanted to move up. And I'm like, man, what can I do? And it was very acceptable in that world to wear basketball shorts, a T-shirt, a hat if you want. I can even throw it backwards because I'm working with kids. And I was just like, nah, like, I'm not going to go the suit route because I think that's a little dramatic for where I was at that time. But I always had slacks on, and I always had like either a polo or a button down tucked into my slacks. And I was made fun of it by, you know, fellow employees here and there, but it quickly helped me gain respect. Yeah. And now obviously you can't just dress that way. You also have to act the part as well. But that was definitely a time in my life where I can attest to dressing for the job that you want versus dressing for the job that you have.
Yeah. You know? I mean, you walk into the room at the same time as the basketball shorts dude. You're both trying to get everyone's attention. Who are the kids going to look at?
I like that, man. But now, all right, for you, what would you tell the individual who is like, man, custom suits may not be the way because I've never experienced it, right? And maybe I can go buy a Calvin Klein suit at Macy's for $250 to $600.
Yeah.
Right? And I could take that and go get it tailored so it kind of looks good. But on your end, what would you tell somebody that needs to get into a custom suit?
Yeah. Well, I'll caveat this first. Like, in a sense, custom is for everyone. We can work with every single type of person, every body shape. But I understand that it is the highest level of the suit game. And for some people, it's not realistic, right? Unless they want to go into debt, especially people starting out. And I want to caveat first by saying you got to start somewhere, right? So if you're going to start somewhere, I actually think that might be one of the best budget-friendly ways to start somewhere, right? I know a lot of my coworkers have those old, you know, Macy's suits, and you know, but we most of the people who work at Tweeds were customers first, right? And every single one of us who was a customer first has a story about how we spent way more than we thought we would, and way more than we could, you know, afford because we were, you know, just starting out in life. But the investment in ourselves propelled us forward, right? But But a lot of us still have those, those suits from way back in the day. And, we put them on now. And we're like, are you kidding me? This is like a clown suit, I would say yes, you have to start somewhere. It's always going to be better to buy the one really good suit instead of the 3 okay ones, right? It's an investment that you're putting in yourself. It's going to last you longer than any of those. It's going to fit you better. And it's going to open much bigger doors when you present yourself at the highest level.
And you're talking custom craftsmanship.
Yeah.
From the ground up. Like even the fabric, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference of the fabric that you guys are utilizing versus like a Macy's fabric?
Yeah. So when it comes to the fabric itself, we work with heritage fabric producers. I have seen some of these end up in the ready-to-wear market. It's very hard to find good fabrics. Like there's a bunch of people on, Instagram and TikTok, and they'll go to, all different kinds of retailers, and they'll just look at the tag, right? And it's always some kind of polyester blend. It's always some kind of plastic, whatever. Like the whole ready-to-wear game is to make as much as possible for as little money as possible. So every corner that can possibly be cut, they're going to cut. And even if it shaves off a fraction of a cent per produced unit, over tens and tens of thousands or millions of units, it's going to save them a lot of money. So the fabric itself is one thing. I've seen some really nice fabrics make it into the ready-to-wear market. I would say the much bigger consideration is the construction, right? Like every single ready-to-wear retailer is cutting corners on construction. Some of the biggest differences are in things like how the suit is actually put together, right? 99% of any suit you're going to find off the rack, the layers are going to be what's called fused. So they glue the layers together. You have your fabric that you chose. In between, you have a canvas that gives the jacket structure. They're going to use the synthetic canvas and glue the fabric to it. That kills the lifespan of whatever you're buying. I mean, I have seen custom suits that have lasted 10, 15 plus years. I'm like ready-to-wear jackets. You take them to the dry cleaner a few times, and you start to get that bubbling, right? It's the glue coming undone. That being said, when you get up into the higher tiers of fabric, of course, we have things that you can never find anywhere. I mean, these fabric producers have specialty, provisions and specialty fabrics that they would never send to the ready-to-wear market. It wouldn't make sense for the ready-to-wear market to take it. And you also get a much higher level of scrutiny. Like you can actually pick and see exactly what the composition of the fibers is, where it's coming from, who's making it. And those are things that, correct me if I'm wrong, but people who are going ready-wear shopping are not thinking about.
Yeah, no.
You're throwing something on and thinking, is this close enough? Can I cinch this in here and there and make it, close enough?
Yeah, I always thought I looked good in my suits, man. I did, but then I would notice for sure that over some time, whether it's like pilling of the material or the bubbling, and it fits good, right? Because that was the most important thing for me. But I'm very curious now with the suit that I'm getting from you, the difference as to how I'm gonna feel.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
there's always hallmarks, right, of the ready-to-wear world. There's things that you can always get to a certain point, but there's always a point where you can't go any further.
Right.
And there's things that you just can't adjust. You can't adjust when it's already made. So those are the things that going into the custom game, you actually have control over.
Yeah. I'm very interested in hearing about confidence.
Yeah.
Because in this space, confidence has to be the thing that really stands out. Is there a moment that you can pinpoint or a story with a client that you really noticed that putting that custom suit on him or her really just skyrocketed the confidence? Because I know the feeling that I had, like after even just coming out of the dressing room and you kind of like pinching things to make sure, it was tight. It gave it a completely different feel, and I felt like I was supposed to be there. Yeah. And I'm like, well, here I am, this leadership guy and doing a lot of like keynotes, and I'm speaking, on different stages and stuff like that. I want my confidence to be at its peak. I already practice a lot of other habits and routines to be a very confident guy, but this is like bringing me to the next level, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's like pretty constant, honestly. Like, you know, from the event side, like I can't tell you how many grooms text me and they're like, I felt like I was wearing my Superman suit on my wedding day, right? On the professional side, like I've had lawyers who come in and like it's their first time getting a custom suit, and why are they here now, right? They come in and they tell me, this is the biggest case of my career. I need to look my best, right? And we make that Superman suit so they could step into the courtroom with confidence. I've had a number of people from the corporate world who are coming in to custom for the first time, and they text me and they're like, I've never felt this good in a suit before. Like, this is another level. Like, I feel like I've been missing out on this confidence, like this this feeling of just walking into a room and everything's connected, everything fits right. Like, so it's pretty constant. I don't know if I have like one really big one. Like, I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah, but people do like say all the time, like this is incredible. Like, I can't believe I've been missing out on this for all this time.
I want to break this down too, and CV, just so you're aware of this. Like, I mean, when you're talking about custom, you're not just talking about the fit. So on my suit, I was able to actually put a material on the inside, and it's dollar bills on the inside. On the top of the collar inside, I was able to put one of my favorite quotes that says, "You are your only limit." On the shirts and on the inside, you have the what's it called?
Embroidery, yeah.
The embroidery, D. Regina in there. I mean, you're talking about like really exclusive things. So not just, and I want the listener to hear it, not just the actual fit itself, right? Like, this guy came over, talking about Seth, and he had a whole book of different options. If you like cars, right, and that's like your thing, and you're a car salesman, you can put cars on the inside of your actual suit. So when you open it up, you have like vehicles. It's really, really dope, and it just adds to the experience of something that I've never, felt before.
Yeah, and one thing, I just did a suit recently. There'll be a video dropping soon, but it was a guy getting married. He was getting his wedding suit with me, and he wanted to put pictures of him and his fiance and a bunch of letters that they'd written to each other over the years. And so we like custom printed like a liner on the inside that had all of these like notes from their whole relationship, and like pictures of key moments in their life, and he told me he's keeping it a secret until like the big day, kind of like with the dress.
That's fire.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall when he opens that up, and that like their whole history is like right there.
So that right there is a dope story. That is sick. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Lock it in right now.
Done.
Done.
We'll do it.
So you can take even moments like that of an actual handwritten letter and get that on the inside of the suit.
Yeah, and the best part of working with me in particular is I started my design career in the graphic design space. So I'm actually the one who's going to make the graphic design of the interior, and we get to kind of collaborate on it, and once it's like perfect, we'll print it out and then sew that into the inside.
I'm loving that, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's super dope. All right, talk to me about some challenges that you face in the industry itself, right?
Yeah.
Because again, this is a very niche market.
Oh yeah,
right. But niche is dope because even in any level of business, whether it's podcasting, whether it's owning your own business, having a specific niche like this really is hard.
Yeah,
it's definitely hard, but it's a beautiful thing when you hone in on it and you actually take advantage. I think a lot of people, we struggle. I know I struggled with wanting to be available to everybody and kind of have, a product where everybody can do it. Like, my book is not for everybody, right? If people are not into any level of leadership and growing in their lives, that does not mean that they're bad people. They are just happy with a complacent life. And I don't mean that in any negative way. There's a lot of people that go get a job, punch the clock, go home. They're married, and that's their happiness. You know what I mean? But for you in this industry, being in such a niche market, what have some of the challenges been?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of outlined it right there. Like, one of the reasons I left the corporate world was because a lot of the people that were around me were, comfortable with the thought of like being at that same desk year after year for their whole career. And I have no ill will towards them or anything. Like, that is where they feel comfortable, and that consistency is their number one priority, right? And there's a lot of professionals like that, and they're comfortable, not even wearing a suit at all, or if they do have to wear a suit every now and again, just having whatever could legally be classified as a suit, for the moments where they need to wear it. So it is definitely a niche market. Like, there is a niche of people who want the best of this world. They want to look and feel their best, right? They want to present themselves in the best way possible. And it's a relatively small market, right? But it's an inordinately high quality market. So that is the good and the bad of it, right? I think another challenge is, like, for people who are familiar with this world, like, they're not going to be shocked when we start breaking out fabrics and talking about the costs, right? For people who are outside of that niche, which is maybe like 90% of everybody in the world, like, there's an education aspect there where it's like, this is how much these things actually cost when you are not making them on a mass scale and cutting every single corner, right? In an artisan industry where you're making a one of one, like, this is what actually goes into it, right? So there's an education aspect. I think, like, one of the positive challenges of it is, like, you're always going to find somebody who's going to have, like, a higher standard than you've met before, and you'll have people who are extremely particular. And I always say that's my best kind of client, because that's where you learn, right? When, like, there's something that, like, maybe even they're seeing that I've never seen before. Like, it's extremely personalized, right? So you're going to come in across problems that you would never come across when you're selling things that are ready to wear or, like, off the shelf retail. So the challenges are unique. They are, very niche, but they're good challenges because they always make you grow and learn more.
And now, for people to give context, what do these custom suits start at?
Price
wise.
I mean, I always like to say, like, the range is so wide because it's pretty much all determined by the fabric that you pick, and I'm constantly finding more and building. Like, I think you saw, like, even the library you saw, we've added, like, a whole shelf of fabric since the last time you were there. Wow. So things are always coming in and out.
Talk to me about starting, though. Like, I don't want to scare people.
Yeah, I think, like, I'll give you an average instead of a starting. Like, most of my clients will tend to spend somewhere between $2,000 and $6,000 on a suit.
Okay.
Anything above that, we're looking at the, like, top shelf.
Creme de la creme.
Right. The heritage looms that have been around for hundreds of years. Or those really new looms that have this cool new way of making fabric. That would be, like, the core, right?
Yeah. But see, even that number right there, whether if it was $2,000 to $3,000, $3,500, for you to have the best wedding day of your life, for you to be an attorney who's going to close a, $1 million case. For you to represent yourself as a real estate agent and go sell that, $3 million home. It's not that crazy of a number.
No.
I think it's crazier to people who may not wear suits often. But even those who don't wear suits often, I think it's a great opportunity to be exclusive and to really make that day memorable. I'm loving the wedding day vibe. You probably get a lot of grooms. What's the percentage of grooms that come like, out of your business?
The way I put it is, like, they're not, like, they're the icing on the cake, right? Like, the meat and potatoes is the professionals who come back time and time again. They're building their wardrobe. But we do a lot of weddings, and it's always the sprinkles on top. Like, those guys, a lot of them may never buy another custom suit again as long as they live. Or they never thought that they would, and then once they get it, like, they get addicted like I did.
I'm a suit guy now.
Yeah, I told when I hopped on board, I said I need to fund my suit addiction, so you got to give me a job.
For real. No, I could see that happening quickly, man.
Yeah.
What would be I guess, some of the common mistakes that you see people make in the suit game. And now what I mean by that is like, talk to the people who are wearing suits and what they should look out for, even if they're not buying from you.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
What are the common mistakes that we, specifically as men, are making that you now notice as a custom suit tailor, right? Where you're like, that you shouldn't be doing that, dude. Is it like too big on the arms? Is it too big on the chest? The belt? Like, talk to me a little bit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trend chasing. I see a lot of guys like, I'll give you a really specific one here, okay?
Okay.
For the past like 10, 15 years, the biggest trend in suiting has been like as skin tight as you can possibly get, right? Like, I think like the shape of a suit is just as important as how tapered you actually are. And guys confuse that. And they will wear suits that are so tight that the shape is completely blown up, right? It's stuck on their thighs and it's pulling up on their leg, and like they are always having to pull their pant leg down, or they button the front of the jacket and there's giant pull in the middle because they've confused shape for how tight the suit actually is, right? And you can expand that into all kinds of stuff, like the actual patterns that people are buying, right? Like I see some of these guys, like I think it's really cool to have something unique, like especially if you're in an industry where you can peacock a little bit. But I see guys getting these super bright patterns that they cannot wear respectably in their industry, and is not going to serve them as well as something maybe a little bit more classic, right? And those suits are going to become disposable, right? Like I think landfills are going to be full of these super bright, super tight patterns that people are getting because they saw it on Instagram, right? Again, I love when I get to make something unique. I have a bright pink tuxedo sitting on the rack for a client. Like that is fun. Like, but he understands like where he's wearing it to, what he's going to wear it for. He understands the industry that he's in. He's in the event space, right? So he can do these things.
Okay.
It's going to serve him well.
Okay.
If he was a lawyer, I'd say you're out of your mind if you're going to walk into a courtroom with that.
Yeah. Shout out to Boundless Nutrition, because if you're serious about your health, your performance, and your lifestyle, this place is a game changer. Boundless Nutrition is a hub for people who refuse to live average. We're talking ready-to-go healthy meals for busy professionals, sports performance supplements, vitamins you can trust, training gear, and the best protein shake bar around. So whether you're chasing strength, fat loss, endurance, or just trying to feel better day to day, they've got you covered. And let me say this, Amanda and the entire Boundless team are incredible, knowledgeable, welcoming, and genuinely invested in helping you win. If you're in Westchester County, New York, stop by 54 Washington Avenue in Pleasantville and experience it for yourself. You can tell them you're a friend of Dave's and find them on Instagram at Boundless Nutrition NY. Because at the end of the day, change your lifestyle, change your life. Now, back to the epic. Any advice for men, specifically with the jacket piece? Like, what is the etiquette that's proper for the buttons?
Yeah.
Right? Because I see a lot of people sitting down with their buttons like together. Then I see one button, two buttons. When I stand up, I button the top button. I don't know if that's something that I've seen or I'm doing it wrong. Put me on game, Seth.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to put you on game, all right? There's a lot of different ways that you can make a jacket. So obviously there's double-breasted, single button, double button. Most common is going to be the two buttons, right? The etiquette for it, when you sit down, unbutton it, right?
Okay.
When you stand up, button the top, leave the bottom button undone. It comes from, it's a historical trend. There's no like real like purpose for it, but it's one of those things that says more about like how familiar you are than anything else, right? Like if you are buttoning both buttons because that's how you like to wear it, whatever, more power to you. Most people are going to look at you and say, you don't know what you're doing.
You're
right. Rookie move.
Last time I saw CV in a suit, my brother had two buttons done. I saw it.
Oh man.
It was pink too.
It's all right. This is the last time he does that, right?
Yeah.
He knows now.
Okay, so I was right on that. I think my
Yeah.
dad told me that, to be honest. Like he was like, "Yo," but like when I was in like 8th grade, you button the top one, but I never really knew why.
It's a dad piece of wisdom.
Okay,
If your
all
dad
right.
passes that down to
Yeah.
you, he's got game.
Yeah, my dad got lucky because my uncle always was into custom suits,
Nice.
and then he would do the hand me down. So my dad had custom suits, but they weren't
Yeah.
custom to him; they were custom to my uncle.
Yeah.
But he still got a taste of like what these nice suits were really about.
Yeah, and just again, like the fact that he was able to pass down his suits is pretty unique.
Yes.
Right?
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Like that you only really get that with custom unless you're not wearing them very often, right? Like these are like these are heritage pieces. Like if you take good care of them, you might end up dying before they die on you. So 100%.
Okay. I want to switch you away from the suit game and hear a little bit more about you. You mentioned your brother he has special needs.
Yes, my older brother,
What is it? He's autistic, you said?
Autistic, yeah.
Okay. What is the best lesson that you've learned from your older brother? And the reason I'm asking this is I've been seeing a lot of Fat Joe lately, and he always refers to his oldest son, Joey, as the Don of the family who has autism. And Joey's mom wanted to actually give him up for adoption at a very young age.
Wow.
And Fat Joe was like, no, like, I'm going to raise him. And through the help of Fat Joe's parents, they were able to successfully raise Joey. And he's now referred to as the Don of the family because he just brings so much love and laughter to the environment. And that's something that I've been seeing a lot lately with Fat Joe, and also listening to the podcast where he speaks so highly about him. So
Yeah.
what would you say, and what's your brother's name?
Griffin.
Griffin.
Yes,
So what is
my man.
what is the best lesson that Griffin has been able to instill in you and the family?
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm gonna give you two things. The first thing is just on a personal level. I learned very fast that people who are different are treated very differently, right? And I became very protective, and I think that growing up with him and going through life with him, different social environments we were in, I became very highly attuned to the social setting and how people are interacting with him, right? Because that's my brother. I love him. You're not going to mess with my brother, right? I was very much that guy. And I think that instilled a lot of good qualities in me, wanting to protect people who are being picked on or weak or bullied or perceived as weak, right? So on a personal level, those challenges were very, very much strengthening to me. One thing I learned from him is that intelligence comes in a lot of different forms, right? I watched my brother go through all these challenges where people perceived him as like stupid or lesser than or slow, but his brain just works in a completely different way. And I got a really, really close insight to how his brain works. And it is like, it's very different from how my brain works, but absolutely fascinating. And his, I'll give you an example, right? His special interest has always been movies. He's obsessed. And when we were kids, he would watch a movie 1 or 2 times and have the entire script memorized.
Wow.
From beginning to end. And a lot of autistic people do this thing called stimming, right? They have something in their brain that's you gotta have some kind of stimulation here to keep me quiet, right? Essentially. And sometimes it's a physical thing, people will have some kind of they'll hit something over and over again, repetitive motion. But for him, the way that he did it was he would recite these movies from beginning to end. And you would literally he would be, washing dishes or doing a chore, and you could sit there and listen to Toy Story from beginning to end. Wow. It was wild and really cool. And I think that he has this really fascinating intelligence that is just as developed as the smartest people that I know, but just in a completely different way. And there's, I think, learning to apply that to something productive is something that society is not really built for at this current point in time, and we're missing out on a lot.
Wow, that's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. That by far was my favorite part of the podcast. I'm serious.
Yeah.
The suit game is super dope, but moments like that for this podcast,
I can't give you Toy Story from beginning to end.
Yeah, no. But just hearing the love that you have for him, and I noticed something in your body language when you started talking about him. You started getting like this because you are, that protective brother of him, and I think that's a beautiful thing, man. I can see, just the emotion on you as well as you're discussing that. So, God bless you and Griffin, man, for that as well. Griffin, you said. Griffin.
And I'm gonna plug him real quick. He's got an amazing YouTube channel. It's called GS Productions, and he does movie reviews on there. He's been faithfully running this movie review channel for like 12 years. And he still does it, and it's super cool to see.
Wow.
He has very interesting insights on the movies he watches.
I would love for people to go follow him, and that is very special. I think I need his services because I don't know any movies. So if I could just go to what was it, GS Productions?
Yes, sir, GS Productions.
GS Productions on YouTube to go find these reviews, man. He's gonna put me on some movie game.
Yeah,
I love that. So I want to stay on that same theme, and I'm fascinated by your upbringing, man. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from mom growing up?
Oh man,
as a stay-at-home mom and having 7 kids, dude, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to acknowledge my mom is literally a genius, like Mensa level. Her brain is like a 12-cylinder engine. Like, she is unbelievably smart and quick, and so when she decided to homeschool us, she was absolutely equipped for all of it, right? She knew what she could actually teach herself. As we started to get older, she knew how to get us into all of the things and the programs that we needed to accomplish the things we want. And I think one of the biggest pieces of value I got from my mom was our education was highly tailored, which says a lot about where I am today. But she would frequently check in and kind of get the pulse on what we were thinking about, what we wanted to do. She highly encouraged us to have a sense of purpose in life and have a mission that we were heading toward, right? And so I'm the only one of my siblings so far, other than my oldest brother, who's not pursuing a full-time career in music. My family is very, very musical. And I remember my older sister from day one, her dream was to be a full-time musician, right? And so my mom kind of mapped out this plan for all right, you want to be a full-time musician? Let's go look at the best music schools. Let's figure out, what programs we can get you in now. So my sister was always in music programs. I ended up in a lot of them as well. So I met my wife. We sang opera together.
Really?
And my sister ended up going to Berklee College of Music. And it was I think it's pretty impressive because she had a homeschool resume. And when you hear that, you think it's going to be blank. But she was able to present them with all of these things that she had done and all these accomplishments she made, because from early on, my mom was looking at how can we tailor your educational path to what you're trying to accomplish in life. And I think in a world where school is often so boilerplate and everyone gets the same experience, that's a very unique strategy and approach that a lot of kids just don't get.
That's gold, man.
Absolutely
real gold. I mean, even in the workforce, right? Somebody who's listening to this who has a team underneath them of any level, I think it's so important to do what your mom did, and it's something that I try to highlight too, putting people in positions that they like and that they're already good at. Yeah. Right. And instead of asking somebody, oh, well, what's your weakness? Let's talk about the strength and how can we double down on the strength to make you, better at what you're doing. It seems like that's what mom did for you guys, and that's why you're all so creative.
Yeah, and I think one thing I liked, our upbringing was very tailored, and we could explore pretty much anything we wanted to, and she was always dedicated to making it work. However, whatever, however we could find the money to do it. Particularly with these programs we were in, but anything we tried, we also had this sense of we're going to invest in this and you're going to stick with it for at least a year and find out if you really like it or not. So you don't bow out as soon as it gets difficult and you run out of your own steam of just being, enthusiastic about the idea of it, right? And truthfully, like that's how I ended up working at a young age because I wanted to make movies, right? And she said, all right, I know that there's a co-work space downtown, so we're going to go there and we're going to see if anyone has an internship available. And you are going to go interview with whoever has this available. She's talking to a 12-year-old. Wow. And so that's what we did, and I pretty quickly was like, all right, this is actually work. This is hard. Like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And she was like, no, you got to stick with it. You got to stick with it for at least a year, figure it out. And I'm glad she did because after 8 months, that unpaid internship turned into an actual job. And that job turned into many more jobs that I got down the line. Mm-hmm. And the owner of TWEEDS, I met him through that connection. So he started up in the startup scene in Sarasota. He was at an event at like around that area, and I met him through just having the door open because of the environment that I was in. So really, like although my path has gone in all different directions, I went to school, I went to seminary for a year. Like I tried all these different things, had all these different jobs. Like when I look back at it, where I am now is one connection away from me being 12 years old and my mom saying, you're going to stick with it.
That's a beautiful connection, man. Beautiful connection. And I think the importance of taking advantage of opportunities and also creating opportunities.
Yeah.
Valuable lesson there, man. You mentioned seminary.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Bible verse?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one.
Mine is Joshua 1:9 for sure.
Oh, man. I think.
You want me to say it to you? Do you know what that is?
Hit me with it.
So it depends on this is the gist of it. Be strong and courageous. Mm-hmm. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
Can I give you a book of the Bible?
Yeah.
Or do I have to give you a verse?
No. I mean, I'm just curious, like, because now I have been. Last year was my first time reading the Bible, and now this year I'm really focusing in on learning Bible verses.
Okay.
And
writing them on your heart, right?
Meditating on God's word and really getting familiar. So I've been asking people who are familiar, and if you don't remember one off the top, you could just give me the actual gist of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about your favorite book too, and then also your favorite verse if you have one.
Yeah. Okay. So my favorite verse might still have to be greater love has none than this, that he would lay down his life for his friends, right? I think, I don't know why that's always stuck with me. I think it's so beautiful. Obviously, it's a huge reflection on what Jesus did on the cross. My favorite, I would have to give you a book for my favorite, and I would say it's Ecclesiastes.
Really?
Yes. I think, I grew up very evangelical, and, everyone has different experiences with where they grow up. I got a lot of value from it. But one of the things I would say was maybe underdeveloped was I think it's very easy in such a new and trendy environment to boil down deep theology into bumper sticker ideas. Mm-hmm. And when I first read Ecclesiastes, I was in seminary and I was feeling this way. I was spending 8 to 10 hours a day with my nose in the Bible and thinking, how have I spent my entire life in church? And I never knew half of this stuff, right? And I got to Ecclesiastes and it just cracked my mind open like a coconut. Like, how is it in the Bible that this guy is saying all is vanity and all of our striving is smoke in the wind, and it's just like vapor, right?
Yeah,
yes. And that was when I really started to pull on the thread of the deep theology and meditation on these things, right? And you can't bumper sticker anything in Ecclesiastes, right? It would be crazy. I imagine going to like, you know, a little Bible bookstore and like they have the, you know, like embroidered pillow and it says like, you know, there's a time to live and a time to die. And it's like, you know, your grandma would never put that on her couch. Right. Yep. So, I love that it just is, like a thread that you could pull on and start to go into this deep tradition of meditation.
So ironic that you said that. We're literally studying Ecclesiastes right now in church.
No way.
For the past 4 weeks. Yeah, he's been touching on
nice.
Pastor Wayne Francis of Life Church.
Shout out to Pastor Wayne.
Yeah, he's the best, man. But
Sweet.
No, great book.
Yeah, and it's a great one to delve into.
Sure.
I think like all the wisdom books are my favorite. You know, I love Proverbs. I love even Job. Like Job's a hard read, but I think like you can spend a lifetime like meditating on, and it's so rich and deep. You'll never reach the bottom of the pool. So those would have to be my favorites. All the wisdom literature.
Super dope, man. I love this conversation, man. I think it, and as we kind of wrapped up, I love where it went. I think it was just so valuable, and also just gives so much insight into who you are as a man. I think you're a great dude, man. I'm happy to stay connected. We're going to be doing an event as well.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk a little bit about that real quick.
Absolutely. So we will be doing a little book signing at the Tweed shop. And
live conversation as well.
And live conversation, absolutely. Yep. So this is actually how Dave and I met. So I think it's very poetic that we're going to get to do it again, but in my space.
Yep.
I got a lot of value from that conversation, and obviously I got a lot of value from the book. So I'm hoping to bring in a fresh crowd of people to be able to pick up that value as well. I know it's in July. I might have to remind myself on the date.
I believe it's July 28th.
I believe so. Yes. Yep. I'm envisioning my my sheet of paper where I took all of our notes. But yes, July 28th. There will be lots and lots of Instagram posts about it. So I'm sure anyone listening to this won't be able to miss it.
And we'll have some dope food too.
Yeah, food. Right. We'll make it a good time.
Very cool, man. What do you want to leave us with?
Ooh. Okay. A little bit of wisdom, maybe?
Whatever you want.
All right.
He was ready for this one.
I don't know if I was. I think if there's anything in my life that has benefited me the most, it is always being a student. Whether that is a student in my industry, a student of the Bible, whatever it is, but never assume that you have grown beyond the level of student. If you're always a student, you'll always grow and you'll always be adapting and moving along. So if I can leave with a bit of wisdom, that's it. If you want to get a custom suit, you can hit me up. My Instagram is Seth with Tweeds. You can DM me right there. Our storefront is 80 Purchase Street in Rye, New York. Come in, say hi, check it out. I think, I've worked really hard to build out a space that, people want to come by and hang out in. Now I'm having clients just pop in randomly for a cup of coffee, which is fun. That's exactly what I wanted. So, swing by, say hi, check it out. And if it makes sense, we'll measure you up and get you a dope custom suit.
Man, I'm telling you, you guys have to check out Tweeds in Rye, New York. And I am going to be obnoxious about showing every single one of you guys how my suit comes out. How are we looking, by the way?
It's going to be here before the 4th of July.
Okay.
So right. You will have it very soon, my friend.
I love that. I cannot wait to see it. And again, man, the experience was just super dope. I'm grateful for you, Seth, and continuing to build this relationship and also get my hands on a couple more customs.
Absolutely.
They could call me Custom Reg from now on.
There you go.
All right.
Awesome.
Guys,
well, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I want you guys to follow Tweeds, follow Seth. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend, right? That's how this podcast continues to grow. For the past 2 years, we've been a top 10% podcast globally on Spotify.
Amen.
Which has been amazing. And shout out to my brother, Claudio the Voice Valenzuela, who just does an incredible job behind the scenes, because if not, it would still be me, probably with this cell phone, just holding it up saying, welcome back to the podcast. So super grateful for you, my brother. Guys, you can pick up the latest leadership playbook called 30 Lessons to Lead on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Walmart, wherever you get your books. You can shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. Check out Tweeds in Rye. And as always, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Go get that soup, baby. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com.